Ask the streets.
Ask the streets. Ask the streets.
I like that one.
Shit getting hard, but we ain't letting up. Yeah, we all fall down, but we ain't giving up. Watch the haters fall down, cause you ain't giving up. Can't keep your head down, lift your spirit up. Shit getting hard, but we ain't letting up. Yeah, we all fall down, but we ain't giving up. Watch the haters fall down, cause you ain't giving up. Can't keep your head down, lift your spirit up. Can't keep your head down, keep your head up. Fuck them hating niggas, get your bread up. Motherfuck 12, they ain't scaring us. Motherfuck the devils, they ain't scaring us. Real niggas ride with me, yeah, they know it's up. Gotta make a name for yourself, yeah, they know it's us. Gotta keep a small circle, cause you can't trust. Gotta watch out for these hoes, cause they gon' lust. Only real niggas, they gon' understand. Real OGs always got a plan. Showing young niggas how to be a man. Make my mama proud, cause that's my best friend. Shit getting hard, but we ain't letting up.
Hotep, I'm Cool Josh Senebnet. I'm doing absolutely divine. I'm in a divine state among dynamic people who are making things happen.
Now, we normally see yourself on Sarnetta's TV, and we don't get to see you in Chicago like that, so how you like the city so far?
Well, you know, I always enjoy coming to the Windy City when the wind is not out there, you know, so I'm making sure I only come in the summer and the fall. I stay away from spring and winter, but I always enjoy it. We had a nice meal here at a vegetarian restaurant, so that was good.
Now, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, right? Unfortunately, I ain't going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
Can you give me like a sneak of what you're going to do?
Yes, I'm going to be talking about, you know, this is a Mdw Ntr conference.
Yes,
how do we take our ancient ancestors' work and revive it, resurrect it, and then prepare it for the future? How do we take it into the future with us to prepare it? So my presentation tomorrow will be about that. It'll be about the Mdw Ntr and symptomatic thinking. We need to change our whole thought pattern. So that's what that problem is. We're upside down, inside out, and backwards. You've heard me say that before. But until we change the way we think, even if we have good liberating information, we won't be able to move forward because we got the wrong paradigm. You know, so that's the essence is that I'm going to be talking about how do we change our pattern and how do we develop operational unity. So we don't have to agree on all 10 points, but we all got to eat. We all need to protect ourselves. We all need housing. We all need herbs. We all need healing. Let's come together on that, and then you take your religion home and take it out of the closet when you get there.
I had to sit down with Professor Walter Williams, and he thinks that the Meta Network, he says that the Meta Network has not been.
You should have gave him an invitation for here.
I should have gave him.
Okay, and everybody that says that don't speak any language but English.
I understand that. Okay, but my question is, right? He said when he told me something, he said he is challenging Western academia. How do you feel about that? Is that
well, Western academics is other people he should be challenging. He should be here challenging African scholars who speak other African languages and who can make the translation from Mdw Ntr. We just my advanced students just did a tremendous translation of a text that was done 5,000 years ago. Because see, we still understand the culture. Some of us still live the life of an African, so we can conceptualize the way they will. We understand the culture. Language is an expression of a culture. So is he saying we forgot all African culture? That's what he's saying. No, we haven't. You know, and it's still alive in many different areas in the African culture. We as African people have to come together. See, if you think you can't, you can. If you think you can, you can. So both of us is right. He can't because he's thinking like that. I can because I'm thinking like that. I hope your listeners understood that.
I understand what you said exactly, and I heard the speaker, the last speaker that was just speaking, and she was explaining how she taught her students.
Right.
And
conversational Mdw Ntr, because she thinks she can. See, you are how you thinketh. So if you limit your thinking process, then that's the farthest you go. Your worst enemy, my brother, is inside of you, not outside of you. Once you get rid of the enemy inside, then you are unlimited.
I heard you ask people about a dictionary.
Yes, sir.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, well, Dr. Diop, Mdw Ntr from Senegal, had started this process. He understood that many of the African words that we are using might be slightly incorrect because it's from a European construct, and they have a different paradigm. And some of us are still using some of those. So, like even in my class, when we translate something, we sit down and talk about it for like a half an hour. Well, why did you use that? And then people say, did you see the way this glyph was pointing? Did you see the star there? Did you see that? See, we're using symptomatic thinking. Symptomatic thinking is how the mind innately works. Symbolic thinking is just regurgitation of some facts that somebody, but they didn't have to be facts. They can be just some nonsense that somebody else taught you and you think is real. And you're ready to defend your life with some nonsense. Symptomatic thinking means that I intrinsically know it. I feel it. I can taste it. I'm part of it. Like here's an example. Somebody said, Mfudisi, do you believe in God? I said, no, I don't believe in God. I know the Creator exists. I'm part of it. I can feel it. I intrinsically have a relationship with the One. I don't believe in it. And in the word belief is the word be alive.
I appreciate that. You got anything else you need to people in Chicago?
No, it's just that they need to believe that African people can resurrect themselves, rebuild themselves, and we can move ourselves back on top of the world. But not on top of the world to colonize like the Eurasians have. So that we can bring the world back into Ma'at. Ma'at is truth, justice, righteous, harmonious balance, reciprocity, understanding the One, and we are part of that One.
I appreciate your time.
You are.
I really like that chain you got, that black one. What's going on with that?
This is onyx. Onyx, the vibration of onyx helps your auric field get rid of negative energy and negative vibration. And sometimes it's not outside negativity, it's inside negativity that you have to get rid of. So onyx protects your auric field. It helps enhance positive energy and gets rid of negative. Okay.
Well, I heard you got 2 books out right now.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with the books?
Yes, so my books are running off the chart. I revised the books, Spiritual Warriors Are Healers, which I sold like over 10,000 in a short period of time. So I'm on the 3rd printing of that, and within 4 months, we've sold 5,000 just in 4 months. That's more than 1,000 a month. So I'm dua. My new book is Minchu Hotep in the Spirit of the Magi. I take people on that cultural journey. What's in an initiation? Why do you even have an initiation? Is it an elitist club, or is it something that you valuable that you need? And what is it like to immerse yourself in the African culture? And what is it like to be a real warrior?
How can I get those books?
They can go online, Mfundishi Chahutimus at MdwNetcha.com. They can get it on Barnes & Noble. They can get it at what's the other big bookstore?
Borders?
I don't know if Borders has it, but Barnes & Noble and what's the one that you order from? Amazon. They can go on Amazon.com and get it. Okay. Or they can get it directly from me. All right. Thank you. Dua again.
See, he hosting the Kemetic Science Academy in Chicago. Could you give me a rundown what's going on with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Essentially, what we wanted to do was bring together a group of scholars who were interested and saw the relevance of us revitalizing the language of ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt. One of the issues that we face as African people is that, to a large extent, despite the fact that African countries have been thrown off the yoke of colonialism, they are still engaged in this communication through colonial languages, and some of us take the position that language is actually linked to culture, and that one of the things that we have to deal with are we have to delink ourselves from this type of cultural dependency, the psychological dependency on our historical oppressors, and we also need to cultivate a language that's capable of facilitating communication by Africans all over the world, all across the continent, all throughout the diaspora. And specifically for this conference, the focus is on Mdw Ntr. And the reason Mdw Ntr is particularly significant is because when we look at African antiquity, Africa is replete with great civilizations, whether we're talking about Manabatapa, whether we're talking about Oyo, Ashanti, Mali, Songhai. But the Kemetic civilization is particularly significant because Kemetic civilization was, when it was at its apex, without peer in the ancient world. If you look at the depth of knowledge construction in Kemet, astronomy, geology, poetry, medical knowledge, and so the language and the culture represents an apex of African thought and culture. And so the question becomes, what can be gained by African people to revitalize this language today and make it our language, a language which we use to communicate ourselves and transform our consciousness. So this conference was focused on us having that conversation and us setting a plan of action relative to that work.
Okay. I asked Brother Introduction about Walter Williams. And one of the things he said that stood out to me is he was challenging Western academia with his position on the mathematics.
You know,
is he on to something, or is it irrelevant?
You know what? I'm not entirely familiar with his argument. The basic understanding that I have is that he's critical of this idea that the language has been translated. I'll say this. I think that we should always be critical of Western academia. If for no other reason that European scholars are situated in the European worldview. And so the European worldview, it is what I refer to as an epistemic horizon. It's a horizon to their potentiality in terms of knowing both what is known and what is knowable. And because it's situated in the European worldview, I think there are aspects of African culture, there are aspects of African thought that are beyond sort of the grasp that their framework would enable them to understand. So I think that's a part of it. However, the language has been translated, you know, and we could look at not just the work of European scholars, we could look at the work of Sheikh Anta Diop, who did comparative analyses. In fact, and Obinga's continued this work where he's done comparative analyses of Mdw Ntr with Wolof, with Bantu languages, with Coptic, and so we know that the language exists because these parallel lexemes, these parallel words that we find throughout the language, even in terms of like morphological similarities or structural similarities or phonological similarities in terms of sounds, these things cannot be coincidental. So clearly there's something there. I believe the language has been translated, but I think the European scholars have been wrong in a number of respects. One is that their interpretation of the meanings of the words is moored within their worldview. And so relative to that, we have to be very discerning in terms of how we deal with the language. And so in fact, there's a presentation we'll have tomorrow, a number of presentations, but one of the presenters, Dr. Obadale Kamban, deals with this idea that we can gain deeper understanding into the basic meaning of the language when we look at Mdw Ntr in contrast to living African languages. And that's really the same work that Obinga was doing. And I think that is where we need to be looking. We need to see this as a conversation, not between us and bodies of knowledge produced by European scholars, but we need to really attempt to engage in the study of Mdw Ntr, where we're looking at Mdw Ntr in context, in juxtaposition to living African languages, because I think that's the path that will lead to the deepest and richest understandings of what the language represents, as well as its potentiality. Oh yes, sir. Yeah. So this conference is just the beginning, but you can connect with me. I have a website. I'm at KamalRashid.com. So that's KAMAU Rashid RASHID.com. So KamalRashid.com. I'm on Twitter. I think it's at KamalRashid. So yeah, connect. There, in addition to this kind of work, I work with the Kemetic Institute of Chicago, the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. I teach capoeira locally in Chicago. I'm engaged in a lot of culture work. My wife is an urban farmer, so I'm engaged in some of this food security work. So a lot of things happening, and we do not see the study of the language in isolation from that work. We see this as something which is a part of our efforts to liberate ourselves. Yes, sir. For sure, definitely. Glad to have you out.
Have a good day.
All right, brother, you too.
If you have questions that you would like to ask the streets, contact us at askthestreetsmedia@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you liked the video.